really do. But I think I'm going to start an IGTV series called The Chronicles of Stupidity. This gentleman here has this beautiful Camaro, beautiful car, and it was put together at another shop. The shop that put it together, it's questionable at best if they knew what the heck they were doing. At the end of it, there's always two sides of everything, their side and the shop side, but at the end of it, you know, the owner and the shop, at the end of it, we know that this vehicle has ID 1300 injectors. Nobody ever gave a damn to see if that belt was too close to there or make any necessary changes. This car was originally set up to run an LSA, and then the customer decided to put a Magnuson blower, which is a good upgrade, but nobody ever decided to change the harness or make any changes to it. They have an off-board fuel pressure regulator that is boost referenced, and here's the connector for the boost gauge, which is just laying there. I mean, it's got issues. Let's just say the least. Here, we've even got this hose here, which is supposed to be corrugated plastic, just all kinked up in there. That's definitely a no-no. Here's the reservoir that they used for the supercharger, which that's not even going to be enough for it, especially when they're running an intercooler and they put the AC condenser literally on top of it, smashed into here. I mean, this is just beyond crazy, but I mean, everybody does what they're going to do. They sent the car out and never checked the wheel wells, so now it's tearing up the tires. Tire offset's wrong. And then they put the computer in here, and they're running a fuel pressure control module and an E67 for a LSA, when this car, being a swap, should have been changed over. So you don't have a fuel pressure control module. I mean, it's a 6-speed car. You don't need this. That doesn't need to be there. Especially if you're running an off-board fuel pressure regulator. Why would you need the computer controlled pressure when you want to control the pressure? That in itself is the stupidity. But I digress. Maybe they didn't want to change the harness. Maybe they couldn't do it. Who knows? And the customer had to get this computer because they were using a, you know, E-series computer out of a Trailblazer. But let's just get back to one of the big issues. So I pulled the tune down out of it. And one of the first things that I do when I pull the tune down is check and see what's going on with this car. Because if you start the car, can't smell this. I'm going to throw the scanner on so you can see what the O2s are doing. I mean, timing advance is leaning out just to keep it running. I mean, it's in the negatives. Definitely not good for the life of this car, for the health of it. I mean, it's 8,900 RPM. Even that's not correct. Why they couldn't fix that, I don't know. But we come back, we pull the tune out, and one of the things that you want to check is you want to check and see if the tune's correct. So any aftermarket tune that you want to do, this is a definite no-no. You know, just having all of that information sitting there like that is a definite no-no. Okay, you want to have stoic set, you know, flat across the board, because you've got a fuel pressure regulator up there that's handling that. So that's the first no-no. The next no-no is this has got ID 1300s in it, and it says that the flow rate should be 73 pounds per hour. So you can see that's the scale that we're looking at, and it's 73 pounds per hour. So what do I do just to confirm is I go to Injector Dynamics' website, which is beautiful. You can just go to their website, shout out to them, and they have injector characterization however you want it. They have HP tuners, they have EFI Live, they've got all the good stuff. So we pull out the tune, we come here to injector flow rate versus pressure, and we see that they flat-lined it at 7370. Odd number, but okay. Now, we'll come to ID's information and notice that ID wants 147.46 pound per hour flow rate at 58 PSI. It's about right. I mean, we normally run Chevy stuff around 58, sometimes 60, just to round it off. If you want to run it at a Ford scale, you could probably even run, at a Ford scale at 43.5. But even at 43.5, which would be 44 pounds, it's still 128 pounds per hour, as you folks can see. Pounds per hour scaled at 100% scale, so that's not changing anything. So what does that do? It makes the computer think that it's got half of the injector that's in it, so it's constantly chasing its tail, never knowing that it's got enough fuel. It's got way too much flow rate for injector, so it's pulling half of it back. It's a total screw up. The next thing that you want to see on this thing, which is going to be the Spark Advance. Spark Advance high octane, they start the car at 40 degrees, and it's almost set all the way out, and then it starts at 40 degrees, drops down to 30 degrees, then drops down to 23 degrees, and then it's 15 all the way down. I mean, that is a definite no-no. I mean, look at this thing. It's 16 degrees here through the middle sections, then drops down to 12 degrees, goes to 14 degrees, goes back up to 19 degrees. I mean, it looks like somebody, honestly, Helen Keller could have probably done a better job with Braille. I mean, it's all over the place. If you want to see what the tune looks like as far as it's concerned, I mean, this is super haggard. I mean, look at the gaps in this. So now the engine's going to hunt all over the place looking for timing because that's what you're commanding. Well, that's in the high octane tables. Let's see if they even matched it. Well, at least they did that. At least they matched the tables. But now if we come in here to the idle spark advances in park and neutral, there's no spark adder. And the base advance is all over the place. So now you're telling the car at base advance at 800 RPM to be at 16 degrees locked, but you're commanding it at 18 to 20 degrees over here. Sorry, 15, my bad. So they don't even match. So the computer's gonna be all over the place. On top of that, this is the other thing that throws you off. And this is something that tuners need to watch out for. Folks, if you're wondering, this is a good learn. On a Gen 4 engine, you have the ability to be able to command dynamic airflow, which means if it's got an MAF, you have the ability to command it to go into mass airflow control only. Well, the moment the car gets past 380 RPM, it's going to command that the mass airflow controls all the fueling. So they're not looking at anything as far as the fueling tables, nothing's concerned. They don't care about VE, they don't care about nothing. So let's see what the VE looks like, just out of stupid curiosity. Let's see what this looks like. It probably, there you go. That would be one reason why. They don't want to mess with the VE table. So they just commanded some numbers in there and left it alone with huge ass freaking gaps. So when you're commanding this vehicle to be in VE mode, in mass airflow control mode, which is fine, it'll work, nothing wrong with it. But if you're taking the time to tune it, why not take the time to tune it the right way? Get all the numbers that you need to get in there and be done with it. But no, we don't want to do that either. God forbid we were to do that, So why would they put it into mass airflow mode, may you say? Well, here's why. Enrichment throttle, at 5% it's going to be in enrichment. The pedal select is 0, so it's in power enrichment the moment you turn the car on. And they're enabling the power enrichment at 105 kPa. So the moment you get past 105 kPa, which is atmosphere, the moment this thing makes 1 pound of boost, it's going to be in the power enrichment. There's no delay, there's no throttle bypass, there's nothing. And then the ramp in and ramp out on the setups are freaking mismatched. So it holds the fuel in. On top of that, they've got the power enrichment ramping all the way down. This is a supercharged car. It's going to want to be at this number all the time. But they're using this to control their fuel setup. This is what's called PE raping. You're using your PE, your power enrichment, to control all your fueling, instead of actually going in there and changing the fueling and making things the right way. Oh, what's another thing that they did on this thing? They never changed any of the loop gains. They don't have it even going in remotely into closed loop. It's not looking at the O2s at all. I mean, it goes on and on and on and on. You know, closed loop enable temp at 36 degrees. How about we let it warm up first? I mean, it's just thing after thing after thing after thing. I mean, even here's another good one. This is a manual transmission vehicle. You know, trans input max is at 2900 when it should be maxed out at 6042. So you're telling the computer to pull timing and fuel out just to keep a built 6-speed livable behind this thing. Oh, but by the way, let's use fast torque exit. Let's keep all that in there. And then in our supercharger setups, they don't even allow the blower to make full power. If they're using this computer to control it, they're not even allowing the blower to make full power. That's the amount that it's going to go in before it goes into boost disable. Now, you know, everything being everything, it might not even care about any of that. But if you're going to tune it right. I mean, geez, does this really kill anybody to take 5 minutes and just get the data right? I'm going to almost bet you if I get the freaking proper injector data into this thing, throw a wideband in it, which it doesn't have, and get everything set up, this car will run like a fucking dream. So just let that be to you. Even though you pay a lot of money, if your tuner is not taking the time and your shop is not taking the time to do it right, we'll find you somebody else that will, because your money is worth something. Hope this little education helps you out, folks.